Good evening, traders. Welcome. And good. Oh, much of this is working. There we go. Okay. Morning, traders. Good evening. Good afternoon. Welcome to our pre-market analysis. We open up to the public every single Wednesday. Thanks for joining us this morning. Give you guys a little bit of a break on what's going to happen this morning. Once I'm done speaking here, this is Spartan, by the way. Beth's going to be coming on, going through any of the macro environment, anything that makes sense to be looking at from a bigger picture point of view, going through any of the commodities, ETFs, et cetera, as well. Once that's done, I'm going to be coming back on, going through the individual names I'm looking at from a gapping up, gapping down perspective. We'll go through the technicals on them. We'll go through the news associated with those gap up, gap downs. And then we'll also go through the SPY, the FANG, the VIX Qs and IWM. After that's done, Selfish will pop on, go through any of the news events that he's been looking at macro environment over the course of this evening as well. And he'll go through some of the analyst calls for the day and basically what makes sense, what doesn't. We'll do a quick little recap of the technicals that we looked at for the open, and we'll be ready to go. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and pass it back over to Beth, guys, and I'll talk to you shortly. Beth, if you're ready, it's all yours.
I am indeed, sir. Thank you so much. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, my friends. Welcome. Pre-market here, as we do, as Spartan explained, every Tuesday, but we do this every day. Pre-market thoughts, ideas bantered around. Lovely community here. Great ideas. Look, there's an elephant in the room, and we've talked about this elephant in the room. There's only two possibilities here with this market. One is the recessionary tail with the inversion is eventually going to play out. And that means we're probably going to go down to the lows. COVID lows broken. You could see, 20-30% decline. But from here, it's not as bad a deal. Still a bear market. I mean, the NASDAQ didn't even get close, right? And basically the SPY was rebuffed, rejected nastily, okay, at that downtrend line that went back quite a few months, right? The other side of the coin is that we're not going to go into recession. There's still quantitative easing, which I've discussed with you. And we can go to all-time highs. The first, the former is probably 85%. The latter is probably 15%. So batten down, baby. We're going to be in a bumpy ride. Okay, so what happened here? So we had these, as you can see here, the crude oil stocks, bigger draw than expected, and that's what's stabilizing crude right now. FYI, I did tell my students yesterday, I bought oil, almost got the low, not quite, 26.74 is where I bought it. And I'll explain why. Great trade so far. It's up 10%. So see. Also overseas, Australia is important. As expected, GDP was worse than expected. Well, I shouldn't say lower than expected, right? Building permits as expected. That's the final though. Deflation. Deflator, GDP deflator. Wow. Okay. Final consumption, 0.8. Somewhere along the line with these layoffs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And if you portend with the idea that a lot of people are spending money, right? And the crazy reality that cash in the bank is going to be gone by mid-June of next year. I mean, it's just, I don't know. China, balance of trade, yada, yada, yada. Worse than expected. Exports, way worse than expected. Imports, yeah, and they knew these numbers, right? They said, oh my, we have to do something. There's some profit taking going on in China, which is fine. I mean, that's okay. I still think my narrative for 2023 is really spot on. The question's going to be, I actually raised more cash than I've done since the low we saw before, right? So we'll see how that plays out. Okay, Wednesday. Industrial production better than expected out of Germany. UK worse than expected. You know, unfortunately, the UK is just in a different world. Germany is just so strong. I'm still waiting for the DAX to break out. Foreign direct investments were slightly up. Employment change, as you can see, up, right? GDP better than expected. Growth year over year. And then ECB, McCall. So we have the quiet period right now before the FOMC, right? That's a week before. Thank God. Once again, can someone in Congress stop this lunacy and not allow them to speak, these fed heads? You have people who aren't even voting shouting out opinions. I mean, seriously, come on. Just saying, I mean, makes no sense. Okay, so mortgage back 6.41, slightly down, right? Index slightly down, purchase index down, refinance up. All right, we have non-farm productivity coming out, unit labor costs, right? So that's important. And then we have the gasoline. The crude EIA numbers. We do have the 17 bill auction, consumer credit. Okay, so it's going to be an interesting week. Okay, we do have PPI on Friday. Sorry, so that's going to be an important thing. All right, so I'm going to show you the thrust of the different cycles and stuff like that. It seems to me that it was front run some of the action for the Christmas rally, right? Santa Claus rally. I know, but there's actually a statistical version that I'll show you. Okay, MongoDB. Oh my goodness gracious! Yesterday, Dave and Buster. Okay, I don't play option earnings aside from hedging. Okay, this morning, Mobileye actually got raised their guidance, but it already had been rallying. So we'll see how that plays out. That should go higher. That's a good. I am in it. I took some profits already. And then I'll probably buy back in. What was up yesterday? XLU. What was down heavily? Energy. I think this narrative continues. XLC is obviously Meta and Google, right? So I'm getting more and more defensive, and we're going to go over this with my students in class, how I'm doing things right now. So I got XLK puts, XLC puts, XLV. I mean, I'm pretty much across the board on the put side, okay? And then in my my IRAs, I've got a lot of cash and leveraged inverse ETFs. Very, very defensive. All right, so here, you see, this is the problem. All right, we're going to talk about this, is the Dow outperformance. This will not be happening, okay? That tells me bear market still, right? When the Dow leads, it's not a good thing, right? So we'll see how that plays out and about. Okay. Let's see what else Liz has to say. Who cares? Oh, this is the percentage of sector, right? So energy is still there. It has to come down. Okay. Industrials, materials, right? Healthcare, REITs. Right? I still think next year is going to be the year of 60-40 is going to come back. I really think that bonds have, in terms of risk reward at this point in time, a better chance of helping your portfolio than not. Okay, so I think we're going to get back from the insanity, right? All right, so let's see here. This is the emerging markets. Now this is China, basically, right? But irregardless, it also has, you know, Indonesia and stuff like that. Look at this screaming higher. This is amazing. Okay, this is actually S&P 500 against the MSCI emerging markets. So this was the S&P. Now we're starting to see this come back. I think this is actually going to be fascinating, and this could be the trade of 2023 as well. But irregardless, emerging markets is China. Okay, so you see this is also coming in, but you know, in the tertiary side, you have Indonesia, Taiwan, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You know, I think this is interesting though. Okay. U.S. corporate credit spreads by rating. investment grade. Look at this. These are the triple Bs, right? Here's the triple As. You can see. So you get a 1 basis point pop for triple Bs. And then here's the high yield, right? No surprise there, right? All right, so here's the US equity prices against the world, right? Okay, and this is basically taking the US and then dividing it by the world, okay? All right. This is why I think we have an opportunity right now, which will be meaningful. I think we are going to see a decline like this. This is why I want to be more involved. And this is what I've been doing for the past few months anyways. You know, I'm in China, I'm in Fez, I'm in EFA, et cetera. I still think that's the sweet spot for next year, is you want to make sure that you have enough allocation overseas. This is my personal opinion. Okay, I have to reiterate that. These are the things that go through my busy brain, right? As my action plan for 2023. So everybody's got, 2023, 2023, and I've been articulating what I think. I've also articulated that, hey, gold, silver, we're going to have monster rallies in it. This is going to be a multi-year breakout. Copper gold spread, as you can see here, this is interesting. This is the ratio, right? I actually think I'm in copper and I've made some really nice money on it, on that ETF. I think I'm going to get out of it soon. Yeah, I don't like the look of it. I'm probably going to exit that. Right? Real yields based on tips right down here. This is again insanity. Okay, with where we are. I don't know. I just think that some of the stuff makes no sense. Labor force participation rates starting to come in. I mean, unemployment has to go up. So what's going on here? I might find, so we're getting a contango. We haven't seen one of these in a while in oil. Okay, just be aware of that. Okay. This is, like I say, this is pretty fascinating stuff, and we know that the poor are getting poorer, right, globally, and they're really in trouble, right? All right, so Blackstone, once again, they're talking about this in Australia, down under. Okay. Let's see what else they got. Nigeria Central Bank has capped ATM cash withdrawals at $45 a day. Wow. Right. Don't forget the seasonality right now with this dollar is that this is the weakest month of the year for the dollar. Okay, so that's another thing that I have a problem with, and I'm actually going to be going long UUP. I actually may do a little bit more leveraged individual wise, but with maybe YCS or EUO, I don't know, we'll see. I was Wall Street Journal hawking. Okay, this does matter, all right, for two reasons. Because now legislatively, the Senate can get through things they were not able to get through with Manchin and Sinema. Okay, so that is a big deal in terms of the Senate. And it does have, obviously, for 2 years implications. Now, the other thing I was really interested in, they've been doing polls on, in terms of what was the most important thing. Now, the Republican Party basically hang their hat on, it's the inflation, right? But the polling continues to show, okay, two things, right? One is an anti-Trump vote, and the other one is the Supreme Court with Roe v. Wade. And I discussed this with you, that this will be resolved, this Roe v. Wade will have an impact in terms of the short-term election cycle as well as the longer term. So I think that, who knows what's going to happen, but from a position in terms of the market, in terms of what they might pass, I think they're going to be more aggressive in terms of their spending. Okay, how you want to perceive that, don't know, but it does matter. Okay, BG's breakdown solely and all, yeah, like all of us on everything, right? Okay, TikTok and the U.S. government concerns faces more. This is not going to happen. I can't see it. Trump's family business was convicted of criminal fraud. Well, that was no brainer there. That was happening, right? Because it was pretty obvious what was going on there. Oil price caps adds to the pressures on Russia. Oh, Jesus Christ. All right, so that's that. All right, overseas, China's gold reserves rose again, okay, as well as the dollar reserves, which is kind of interesting, right? Let's take a look at what's going on here in Bayern's global chip war can't be. I agree with that. Taiwan semi plans to spend, well, yeah, it's a drop in the bucket. Makes big stride in easing COVID. Lucids of discounts are a bad omen for demand. I agree with that. Okay. Why is this guy not in jail? Everybody asks the same question. Why isn't he in jail? A new species on your next vacation, biologists. They're like, okay, whatever. Stock picking looks like a long-term winners. Cell tower rates could climb 20%. I actually agree with that. You know, I like AMT. I have to think about it. AbbVie stock has climbed a wall of Humira worry. Why there's still time to buy? I love AbbVie, you know that, and I continue to buy it. Let's see what's going on here. NEO and BYD are converging. Carvana downgraded Chinese, as we know. Yada yada. Philip Morris, Starbucks, my new ideas. I love Philip Morris. I've been in this one for quite some time. Okay. You know, bring it on. I just think this is a fantastic stock. I did, however, take some profits though at 104 because I bought it at 87. No, 85. Okay, so that's okay. I want more of a pullback and then I'm going to start buying again. Okay. This is just crazy, this MongoDB. I mean, I know what I'm going to do it, trades it. I don't know. Dollar slips into your rupee. This is a big deal, targets. No, where's the, they changed their, oh, here it is. Targets IPO at 2, no, I believe it's their repo. They made a change to their repo rate in India. Okay. All right. 50 basis point. Okay. All right. Let's see what's going on. Okay. So in February, so don't forget there's no January meeting, right? In February, right? And this is why we may get that little tailwind rally, right? Maybe up to the resistance level at this point, the way we're going, right? You're looking, this is 25, 50, and 75. Okay. All right, let's see what Flo has to say with it. Believe it or not, SMMT got crazy ass rallies at the end of the day. Okay. Interesting. All right, let's see what the top. Now, I have to say, this has been a very low volume sell-off as well as a low. We had a low volume, well, end of November, we didn't, it wasn't low volume, but I mean, we had some really nice call, some sweeps coming in and buy programs and stuff. So Tesla 16.1 million. So that's pretty paired. 9.7. This is really light stuff, friends. Okay. And even Twins kept saying, this is light volume, this is light volume, what the hell? In a thin market, okay. You got to watch your back on the short side. It's easier to get bang for your buck if it's a thin market, okay? But then, you know, like I say, this is what I do. The market makers always tell you what they're thinking by their premiums, right? I told you yesterday, I shouted out right before the rally started, these market makers pancake the XPX put premium when it was almost in the money, okay? Just saying, right? So see, we get any sort of setup that way. That's what I knew. That's what I look at. All right, so let's see what happens here, my friends. SPOK, right? President CEO. Is that Erna head insider buying, right? Yesterday, what happened? CFLT and 5 were tied to options and the rest were sells. Okay. This should not be surprising this time of year either, right? You know, people are selling some of their stock that they've held, probably due to options, right? They take profits. Okay, so let's take a look. This is insanity, friends. This is 30 downgrades. That's a lot. Shopify was downgraded by Wolf, outperformed, appear perform. Trip, booking, so a lot of the travel, right? But you know, it's disingenuous when you actually have a higher price from the downgrade. So Expedia, Wolf, stud, Deepak, stud, 75%. Come on, I'm not going to argue with the dude. But this WeHo from Baird, Jeffrey, you got a 90% higher, whatever. This is just, okay. This is uninviting and I mean, come on. Initiations are kind of fun as well. A lot of initiations going on in the past week. So RBC, Connor, you don't have a ranking, so I don't know you, but Thermo Fisher, I love Thermo Fisher. That's one of my names for next year. AMAT also got a interesting bump. 71%. Somebody new from Loop, right? Because it was strong yesterday. All right, let's take a, oh, actually, we have to see the upgrades, right? So let's look at the upgrades. Shopify. An upgrade, right? Sedge, Solar Edge as well. Okay. MDB, Mongo. Well, yeah, that should be no surprise, right? So, anyways. Yeah, they said it's pretty much Carvana is pretty much Gonzo. So that's what they're saying. Now let's take a look here. JP Morgan and Signet are being hyped. All right, so let's talk. This is their model, right? Cautious bull. That's their short-term, long-term negative. Risk warning model is neutral, negative. This is positive, composite washout model, positive, thrust model, and then the confirmation model and new bull market model are all neutral. Okay, that's what it says. So what does this mean? Not a whole hell of a lot. Until you get farther out, 6 months, 12 months. Okay. Not a good picture right now. Okay. I don't know. We'll see. All right. Put call rate. This is just crazy. Right. All right. So this is what I wanted to show you. Okay. So this is the seasonality index. So basically, they look at a couple of things. 2 days immediately prior to an exchange holiday, i.e. Christmas rally, right? Thanksgiving, yada, yada, New Year's. And then they look at last trading day of the month and the first 4 trading days of the next month, right? November 1st through the 3rd trading day of May is included in there, right? This is supposed to be the strongest, right? Seasonality wise. All right, so what do we got here? All right, this is what we got, okay? November is kick ass, right? And then you see here at the end of, so we had that rally, right? And then we're supposed to have this rally. So I think it was front ran, they were more aggressive in November, but anyways, I think that the technical resistance was, everybody got the heebie-jeebies and, well, the drill, right? So the next really strong days are 22nd, 23rd, and then December 31st. And then you've got, now notable, this is really important. This is really dark green. So this is a 3, and this is only a 2. Okay. All right. That's that. Now, you would not think the withdrawals from the ETFs on the XLE would be that. That's nothing. And basically the buying was, there was actually buying coming into this buy. I mean, this is just fascinating stuff going on right now. Reading the tea leaves. Okay, here we go, bonds. I'm not going to do a lot with the inversion. You know the drill here. Okay, so basically this is steepening, right? And this we have here in terms of Canada, yields up across the board in Europe, UK, and then down across the board there. All right, let's take a look at the dollar. This is where I buy. This is where I would buy. I got a double bottom there on the weekly, right? We're into the 50 EMA on the weekly. We're at the lower end of the Bollinger, right? Yeah, but I'll wait a little bit, mainly because the best case scenario right now would be sideways consolidation and a rally into starting in January. Okay. All right. So as you can see, the Chinese are revaluing their currency, strengthening, positive for investors over there. Crypto. Yay. All right, commodities. Gold. I mean, this is just my opinion. I've been doing gold since the late 1970s, and I've shown everybody in this room you can make money in commodities on a regular basis as long as you're patient and you pick your technical spots. Okay. All right. Natty gas. Bought yesterday. Why did I buy yesterday? This is why I bought. I had this double bottom here, now triple bottom. Okay. I basically had here, this is the weekly, 100 EMA, toe tap, right? And it was here. So my risk reward was basically buying here at 533, and then I would have to stop myself out. I'd probably get to this low, 474, but just be aware of this. I'm not looking for a really huge bounce in it, maybe 630, okay? So this is more of a scalping type trade for me, FYI. So I thought I would share that with you. Like I said, I posted it for my students. I know that a couple of them actively follow me on that side, so that was a nice little trade. But like I say, I'm only looking at this as a short-term technical bounce. That's it. And maybe it even gets up to this downtrend line. Okay. All right, so here's crude natty gas. You can see that crude natty gas, another reason why was rebuffed here. The crude just is concerning to me. Look, I still have my UCO on, you know that. I'm still in the UCO drip spread, okay? I've been a little bit hedged with the SCO, right? And that's worked out really well for me. So, we'll just see. I still think the risk reward right now is to the downside in crude, unless we start to reclaim some serious, meaningful resistance. Okay, all right. I.e., you got to reclaim the friggin' reversion to the mean, the 20 EMA, 21 EMA monthly. Seriously, that's not a good look when it can't do that. And then you're basically down here. Okay. So what I'm going to do is, because we are getting into some support, right? I still think we get down to the mid 60s, first, but we could get a little bit of bounce. I mean, obviously this pivot's really key. For those of you who like to follow me on the crude side, okay? And I know we have people who do that. Here's gold crude. Look, I mean, I think this is going higher. I think this is going higher. Now, that doesn't mean we're not going to have a pullback, into support, into the breakout levels, right? So that's okay. I have a little bit of dust on as a hedge, okay? But, I don't have a lot. And you know that I'm overweight gold and silver right now, okay? And this is a long-term trade for me, so this is a conviction trade for me, based off of my action plan narrative. Okay. Just saying. Right? Okay. They're both selling a little bit. All right. That's that narrative. Okay. All right, let's look at the markets. All right, down slightly here. Dow continues to outperform, right? Small caps, etc. Right. I don't know where the hell I was with this trade, but this spread, but it's got my full attention right now. DAX is down. It got rebuffed. We told about the extension, but we have profit taking coming into China. That's fine. Whatever. Nifty 50 is coming in. I'm trying to get into some longer dated stuff with India, but we'll see. All right, DAX, once again, until we actually can break and reclaim this, I really can't do anything with DAX right now. So it has to come down here or here, okay, for me to start nibbling again. I mean, it's just, look, if I'm going to buy down here, I'm not going to buy up here, right? I'm going to wait. And if it does break and hold, then I will buy. You have to wait for confirmation and all this stuff. Fez is holding up really well. So this is the stocks 50, right? I'm in this aggressively. Fez is one of my largest holdings overseas. Well, China's my largest, but then Fez is the next one. Okay. I have a little bit of put hedge on, but that's it. EFA, I've lightened up a little bit, but I have to start hedging because it's still a pretty big position. Okay. This is what I'm doing for my portfolio, my positions. Okay. I'm just talking out loud in terms of what I'm going to do. Okay. Right. Okay. FXI, all right, so we got an issue here, so I have to put some hedges on because it got rebuffed here. It was about to break out, but it didn't, so I have to put some hedges on. I have some yang on. I've been slowly accumulating that, okay? And then I have some K-Web puts in for my other portfolio, okay? A-share still looks fine, okay? That's the financial end of it. K-Web, we're still looking okay. What I'd like to see is kind of sideways consolidation and the next leg up. That's what I'd like to see. EEM, triple top, quadruple top, negative. I actually may buy some EEM puts as a hedge. That might be kind of fun. Hit CQQQ into a pivot point, right? So you have to lighten up. QQQ, CQQQ, what an amazing trade this was. Okay, this is why you look at it. Dear Lord, 28% right there. Amazing. All right, so let's take a look at the SPX. I continue to look at this and say, where are we in this cycle? On the downside. Okay, so it's a toss-up right now. I mean, are we back here? I don't know. This is a conundrum because nothing makes sense right now. All right. I still think we basically take out the lows. Okay. When that happens, it could be a couple of years from now. I don't know. The whole problem is that nothing's right. Okay. So why is that the problem? Because this rally was a function of quantitative easing. And then inflation being sticky the way it was, then they had to tighten again. Okay. And then you had quantitative easing, and this was the tightening, and this was the Volcker effect with the market. So this is not a simple narrative that's playing out right now. All right, Dow against the NASDAQ, who would have thought? Look at this. I mean, I said, where the hell have I been? That's what I said to myself. Where the hell have I been? Only a 42% rally since this double bottom low in October. That's all. All right, when does this happen? Bear market. Last time this happened, okay, was during the dot-com bubble crash. Okay, right. And this, when that happened, okay, I'm just saying, okay, when that happened, it was a 346%. What this is saying, we got room to go on this one. Okay. Isn't that stunning? This is the Dow against the NASDAQ. Same thing with the SPX. Last time this happened was, you got it, dot-com bubble. I guess that's what we have to look at right now, right? But I mean, this is what it looked like. This goes all the way back, guys, to the 1897. Okay. So the last time Dow did this, well, you can see here with the, this was the roaring 20s in the Great Depression, right? So this is really fascinating when this happens, okay? When this happened, it was the dot-com bubble, right? So in the 1970s, that happened as well, and then it broke as we got into the Volcker effect, right? So I'm just saying, I mean, this Dow is telling us something, okay? So Even the Russell. Bang, double top into actually interesting level idea. I find that really fascinating right now. I think that we are going to get a rally, okay, potentially here. I'm actually looking at getting into HIBL. We're actually at a pivot point, double bottom on it, so I'm looking at that right now. Okay, 2667. Okay, so I'm looking at that. So I'm just looking at things I want to nibble on. Growth value, XOT, double top, but holding. So be aware of that. It's looking interesting, right? Transports. We're basically pinned between two reversions for me. This is a 20 and 21 and 20. Interesting, right? I think it's interesting. So this actually is looking okay, the transports right now. FedEx, double top here has to break through. I may take some profits here because of this double top. Oh, I put on some hedges. XLF, double top, but holding. Look at how many are pinned between the 20 and 21 EMA reversion, the mean. Look at, I mean, there's 4 already, right? XLY, this is a problem right here. And you can see right here that we're kind of right in the mid, right? Okay. XLK, reversion to the mean, double top. So this is why I put on XLK puts. XLP, double top, be aware of this, triple top actually. So we could see some contraction in the XLP, consumer staples, right? You know I love consumer staples, but we are kind of pinned right now. Let's see how this plays out.
All right, Beth, ready to pop back on here.
Okay.
Alrighty, guys, morning. What's going on? Let me just pop up the screen share here. All right. So if you guys are new to chat, have already done so, make sure to click on that new to chat information section in the Discord. Also, make sure to click on the Discord that's emailed to you. You're going to pop in a chat. It's going to look something a little bit like this. First area to go to, guys, when you do come in is that disclaimer section. Click on that, give it a read, as well as go to the new to chat information section. Scroll to the very, very top, and you'll see a link to the disclaimer as well as this bolded risk reward section. Super important to understand both, in my opinion, especially risk reward, because you can't be profitable trading unless you skew this ratio in your favor. It's just mathematics. We'll go through that section. Should help you, in my opinion. Continue to scroll down. We have the summary of how this chat works, breaks down all these channels work on the left hand side, so you can probably navigate the chat through the day. It's important to know to be looking. Continue to scroll down. We have how to read alerts in the options stack. We said breaking down how to read alerts on both sides for the ideas there. Pretty straightforward in that regard. Below that, the options rules that I use Monday to Thursday for options trading. In the options section, if you're curious how I'm managing positions, this is the rules that I use, as well as on SPX. For trading those SPX trade or contracts every single day. Continue to scroll down. We have any of the small account less than 10K, breaking down if you do the smaller account less than 10K. Here's some rules, information, discipline you can put in place. You can better manage your account, in my opinion, as well as how to pick ideas from an options record perspective. Overlay these pieces of a criteria on top of the ideas that we present. You should be left with only things that make sense for you and your account. All right, let's take a look what we got going on today, guys. Couple different things. So what do we got? Tesla, MTB, RXDX, MDB, SEDG, RAPL. So Tesla gapping down the market, MTB. Keith Burnett and Woods downgrades MNT Bank to market perform lowers price target to 180, gapping down on that. RXDX announced positive results for one of their phase 2 studies, gapping up. MDB gapping up on earnings, beat EPS and revs, up 47% year over year on revenue, looking pretty good on the earnings side. SEDG, B of A. They upgraded Solar Edge to buy from neutral with a price target 367, up from 269. And then RAPL is gapping up as well on phase 2/3 study there. So let's take a look at these names from a technical standpoint. Intraday, first two we're looking at today, guys, going to be Tesla and that MTB. So let's have a look at those. Yeah, gotta work through some charts here from a technical perspective. Oh, and by the way, guys, that ERNA, we've been talking about this for like, I don't know, a couple of weeks here. So I'm just trying to log into another platform. I did end up taking 3 quarters off here around 556. I don't know, pretty decent little trade there. Almost up 100% overnight, so I'm pretty happy with it. All right, once this loads up, we'll rip through the charts, guys. I'm just waiting. I don't know what's taking so long. It should be up now. There we go. Okay, so let's take a look what we got going on today, guys. First two we're looking at today, Tesla and then MTB. So let's go through these. So Tesla, obviously a little bit of a gap down today. Label stays low. And this recent range low down here, and we're good to go. Okay, so pivot to the downside today is gonna be 175.16, which is last day's low. That level is able to be reclaimed. We got room back towards 180.05, in my opinion, to the 186.45 level. Unable to hold. I'd be looking for a pullback towards 170.34, in my opinion, to the downside, as well as that 165.22 support. So gonna be leaning on the actually the bullish neutral side of Tesla today, looking for a reclaim of that pivot, a slight bounce. Only if that pivot point can hold though. That's what I'm looking at, my opinion. So pivot holds, get a little bit of a bounce. MTB, a little bit of a gap down here. Let's take a look what we got going on. So we are breaking through that little range there. I think we should pretty much be good here. Yeah, let's see what we got going on. $156.95 pivot to the downside today, unable to hold 155.09 or 153.75. Able to hold, in my opinion, room back towards 159.43 to 161.19 to be the next two resistance levels on the daily. Maybe leading bearish, looking for a continuation lower, in my opinion, if that pivot point can hold at 156.95. So we'll be watching for basically continuation to the downside today, below that level. So that is Tesla, that is MDB. The MDB is a pretty ugly chart. You got that range break on the daily to the downside. So that in itself is not great from a technical perspective. For continuation to the upside, it's bearish. All right, let's take a look at the next two, RXDX, MDB. Let's see what we got going on here. So RXDX, obviously a huge gap up. What a friggin' move, actually. Holy smokes. I think this is the biggest biotech mover I've seen in years, to be honest, off of data. Yeah. Okay, let's do this. A bunch of Fibonacci extensions on it. The recent range, big range. It's big. Full range. All right, let's go to the intraday chart, see if we got anything up there. Good. Okay. So these are the fibs I got placed on the chart here. It should work pretty decent. 105.09 pips to the upside today, in my opinion. Sol was able to hold. I got room towards that 121.24 fib to 129.58. Unable to hold 92.07 fib support to 90 or to 74.35 fib support. Overall on RXDX can be leaning bullish neutral, but I'm looking for a little bit of a pullback this morning, profit taking a little bit more and then a curl back to the upside. I like these types of names. They tend to hold up and go a little bit more than you think. So we'll see if that's the case again on this one today. MDB, let's take a look at this one. So gapping up 185 a share. Really nice move, actually. Huge move. Let's get these levels labeled. I need to look at. There you go. There. There. Don't think we need it, but whatever. Yeah, let's take a look at the signature day here. Pivot to the upside today, 179.67. This level is able to hold 186.74 to the 194.59 will be tested. Unable to hold 172.14 to 166.57 on the downside. Overall, on MDB, going to be leaning bullish, looking for a continuation push to the upside today if that pivot point is able to hold. That is MDB, and that is RXDX. Take a screenshot of these, move on to the next two. SCDG and REPL. All right, SCDG guys. Let's see what we got going on here today. Pivot to the upside today on this SCDG is going to be at 358. That level is able to hold. I got room towards 311.81 resistance to the 322.95 resistance level. Unable to hold 286.51. Next support I got, then the 273.04. Be leaning bullish neutral in SCDG today. In my opinion, if that pivot point can hold, you got room to grind higher. So that's what I'll be looking for. It's a flag break on the daily as well. That's set up. So got to take into account that bullish pattern as well. Let's take a look at this REPL here. 2403. Okay. Okay, support resistance levels. $23.90 pivot to the upside today. It'll hold 25.25 to 26.32. That level breaks 27.71 is what I have. Unable to hold this support. The pivot, sorry, 22.60 support, and then I have 21.67. Overall, any bullish neutral, in my opinion, looking for continuation higher if that pivot point's able to hold. So that is SCDG, that is REPL. All right, let me take a screenshot of these two. Let's move on to the spine effect. All right, spine the thing. What do we got? Get this little uptrend channel bounce here that's occurring right this morning. You can see literally right off of that level. Like to see technicals work that well nicely. Okay, so pivot to the upside today, 392.27 in my opinion. Level holds 394.15, 396, 395.97. Unable to hold, to be looking for a pullback into the 390.99 pivot or sort of support, and then 389.08 on the downside. Overall, just because we have this large support level on the downside, you'll be leaning more on the bullish neutral side today. Looking for a hold of that pivot and a little bit of a bounce to the upside. If that pivot point can hold, in my opinion, that's what I'll be watching for here. Obviously, failure to hold that channel, and get the next leg down. It's also the 50 EMA on the daily at that area too, guys. So you have a lot of support. It's going to be interesting to see if it holds up. All right, Apple. 141.08 pivot level holds 142.43 to 144.53. Unable to hold, we have a pullback towards 139.57. That level breaks 138.45 on the downside. Overall, on Apple, going to be leaning on the bullish neutral side today if that pivot point is able to hold. So we'll see whether or not that level is able to hold today. A little continued bounce. And if it is, in my opinion, we get a little bit of a move back up. All right, I'm just trying to look at these supports on the daily of major, uptrends and EMAs and things like that being tested. In the case of Apple, it's just a range, but still, it's still a big range. Let's take a look at Amazon. Now, this one doesn't look as good because the daily is still broken with room. So actually looks, good to the downside, I guess, is what you could say. So that's what I'm looking at. That bear flag. And it looks like it has room lower, in my opinion. All right, pivot to the downside. My opinion will be at 87.84 today. Lot level is unable to hold 85.53. Able to hold 90.81. I'm going to be leaning bearish neutral. Looking for continuation lower if that pivot point's unable to hold, in my opinion. Let's take a look at Meta. Sorry, Netflix. The Netflix daily, a little bit broken here. This is the level to watch though. 303, yeah, 303.12. That level is unable to hold. You got room towards 299.86. That level breaks, and you can be looking to that 295.09 level. Able to hold 306.22 to 310.66 on the upside. Overall, going to be leaning bullish neutral only if that pivot point can hold. In my opinion, if it does, you get a little bit more of a bounce. So we'll see what happens in that regard. Pivots could be the most important part. Breaks, we definitely looking to short it as well. Let's take a look at Meta. All right, that Meta, guys, what do we got? So we had some, obviously negative news that came out yesterday on it. Sold off a little bit, and it still looks a little bit heavy, in my opinion. 113.53 pivot to the downside today. Levels able to hold 116.36 to 118.83. Unable to hold 109.93 on the downside will be tested, in my opinion. Going to be leaning bearish neutral, looking for a continuation lower if the pivot point's unable to hold. So that's Meta. Let's take a look at Google. $96.62 pips to the downside today. Unable to hold 94.12 will be tested. Able to hold 98.44 on the upside. Going to be leaning on the bearish neutral side of Google as well, looking for continuation lower, in my opinion, if that pivot point's unable to hold. All right, let's take a look at the VIX Qs IWM. 2251 VIX pivot level holds 2350, 2484 resistance levels 2119, 2121 on the downside if that support's unable to hold. We'll keep an eye on that today, of course. Let's take a look at the Qs. Q 282.57 pivot levels able to hold two. It's got room towards that 288.50 to 295.12. Unable to hold 276.96, 270.96 downside. Overall, on the QQQ, going to be leaning on the bullish neutral side today, only if pivot can be reclaimed. If it can, obviously we got continuation lower. So in my opinion, actually, you know what? In my opinion, I'm going to be leaning more on the bearish side. If it's unable to hold, we got room for continuation lower, and it looks like the pivot's kind of far away on the Q. So see what happens in that regard. I'm gonna get a bounce into it this morning and then get to what's what. But again, we got to see what's what. I think the 50 EMA on the daily is, yeah, it's right there. It's pretty much what the pivot is. I knew that level was broken. Okay, IWM guys, pivots to the downside today, 180.36. If that level is unable to hold, we have room down towards the 176.95, able to hold. You got room back towards that resistance. 183.07 is what I got. Overall on IWM, I'm going to be leaning on the more on the bullish neutral side today, actually. Looking for a hold and pivot and continuation higher, but we'll see what happens, of course. All right, guys, so that's the spies of Bengals, the individual names I'm looking at today. Going to go ahead and pass over to Sell Bleach while I type up that pre-market action plan. And then we'll do a quick little recap for the open. So Felicia, if you're ready, she's all yours.
Okay. Good morning, guys. Let's see what we're looking at this morning. See what that bond market's saying now. Okay, so the 10 years down even more, 3.47. So they broke that 3.5 level on the support. We'll see what happens today. I mean, I like to see them down breaking support for real, not just, a tinge like this. But anyway, that's the story there. Let's look at the 2 years down a little more. And where are we talking about the spread now? Let's see. 54, 84, 84. Wow. Okay, guys. I think a recession is probably, the odds are probably in the 85% range, 80, something like that, really high. Okay, 10-year in London is flat and they have an inversion as well. Okay, now remember what Tony Dwyer said the other day, okay? I'm going to refresh your memory. If 55% of the curve is inverted, okay, based on history, it's 100% chance of a recession. So we were at a week ago, I think it was, 82%. So I would think it's a little higher now. So in his estimation, the odds are 100%, right? And he also says the market does not bottom until we are in the recession. Okay, so which we're not in yet. So, that's the story there. Not a very great outlook for the bulls, let's put it that way. The 10-year in Germany's flat, inversion there as well. What are we looking at? Their inversion is about 23 basis points out of 177. So, you got to do the math, but if they were being ours, it'd be about half a point more or less. So rates are down a little bit, inversion continues. That's really the conclusion. All right, let's go to commodities. Oil's basically flat, up 70 cents. Natural gas is hanging out at the low end of that trading range at 562. All right, gold, silver, copper. I think gold is just a dollar play. So gold up means dollar's weak. Copper's hanging out at 381. Nothing really there, middle of a range. Agriculture commodities not telling us much. Very quiet. Cotton, lumber's 415, so it is above 400, but it's really gotten smashed. Currency, okay, so what the gold told us, dollars down against North America, down against the yen, 136. Down a little bit against the Chinese currency at 198, 698. Euro's up a little bit, so it's down a little bit against that, and it's down slightly against the pound. Okay, crypto-wise, Bitcoin's down a little less than 1%, Ethereum 1.5%, Solana 3%. 3% is 39 cents. So, I mean, watching crypto these days is like, who gives a shit, right? Unless you're in it, of course. And let's look at the foreign markets. Okay, so pretty quiet. FTSE's dead flat. DAX is down 0.3. Over in Asia, we got Nikkei down 0.75%. China flat. Hong Kong down 3%. Okay, so that's the backdrop. Hong Kong's had a great move down this morning. We'll go into the reasons why in a minute. Banks and Fed, I think they're in that quiet period, guys, before the meeting next week. That's what I read somewhere. So we may not see any of these knuckleheads until after the rate decision, which is a breath of fresh air. So that's good there. Okay, China, we have a bunch of stuff in China we'll talk about in a minute. Russia, so what's happening with these guys? Supposedly their, war continues, bombing continues. Ukraine hit another air base inside of Russia. Russia, one thing I read that they're doing is they're building trenches on the border with Ukraine, like trying to, that whole Russia is a propaganda machine. So they're trying to tell their people that they're afraid that Ukraine's going to invade Russia, which is kind of sort of a joke. But I don't know, I guess trying to stir up Russian, pro the war kind of thing, who knows? Who knows what that guy thinks? He's deranged. Oil market. So I found this kind of interesting. Let me see if I can find what I found. Hold on. I'm not for some reason. Be one more second before I move on. It was, here it is. Okay. Sorry. So the term structure in the oil market is changing. Okay. Just let me read to you what they're saying. Oil has gone from a steep backwardation, okay, to in as little as a month ago to an emerging contango, a sign that inventories aren't as tight as they were, and suggesting the economy isn't as strong as it was, threatening the narrative of the soft landing. So the difference between contango and backwardation, more or less, contango, the forward price of futures contract is higher than the spot versus backwardation where it would be lower. Okay, so that's basically the conclusion on that. The term structure of oil is kind of interesting. So that's that. Crypto, we discussed. The dollar missed the market yesterday. It was a really good, trading market. What can you say? They rallied them a little bit at the end of the day, which kind of cost me a little bit of money, but by and large, pretty good day there. Group rotation wise, let's see what we had. We had China was decent, utilities were okay. Big oil and gas got hit, semis, high PE tech, solar, FANG, EV, all the high beta shit got hit. Okay, so that's that. Let's see. EU is having problems with China, especially because this whole narrative about patents and how holders don't have access to the courts. Okay, this is in line with China thinking they're immune to, basically every law or agreement that they come to. And if you have a patent, you have no rights to it. They can just knock you off and do whatever the hell they do. Typical. I told you about the Russian troops. China's lifting some more of this lockdown stuff, requiring negative. They're no longer requiring tests for cross region travel. But their trade data came out, and exports fell 8.7% versus the 3.5% expected. And that's basically the reason for the hit on Chinese stocks this morning. I mean, listen, guys, companies are moving stuff out of there as fast as possible. Okay, and they're unreliable. And they're fearful that one day, if they invade Taiwan, the same thing that happened with Russia, we don't want you doing business with these guys, is going to happen with China. And so they're trying to get ahead of the curve. Can't blame them for that, right? So that's that. BlackRock, there's a activist called Bluebell who's had some success going. They want Larry Fink out. They called him a hypocrite on ESG, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know. The only thing I have a problem with is that BlackRock gets to vote everybody's shares that are in BlackRock and all these. It's just like, it gives them a little more power than probably they should have, but whatever. That's not my call. Mortgage rate, mortgages demand declined again, 1.9% despite the drop in rates. BlackRock is also saying it's time to rethink investment in bonds. They like that as an investment. And they're also having a run on another fund today. Which one is it? Some fund. They reached their daily limit on withdrawals. So this is the second fund that's had this problem. It's called the Private Credit Fund. Okay, before it was the Real Estate Fund. I think if BlackRock is having this problem, guys, you're going to see this as a common occurrence. Okay, because these guys have investments that are not short term, and to lower, to get out of these things ain't easy. And once you get a run that people are scared they can't take the money out, then they want it even more. Okay, so they want to get out even more. And how do you sell, these big investments that they have? It's very difficult. It's not like you can sell some stock, where there's a liquid market. So it's a problem. So that's BlackRock. And you can rest assured that this is not going to be the second time this is going to happen. As the economy weakens, you're going to see this more and more and more and more, and more funds are going to have it, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so that's BlackRock. US wants to ramp up natural gas supplies to Britain. Good luck without an infrastructure to send this stuff off to Britain, but he can talk the talk, but he can't walk the walk. So that's that. Trump lost another battle in Georgia. This time, what's his name? The football player lost to some other guy, Democrat. Now the Democrats have a 51-49 edge in the Senate. And I think it's obvious that Trump's coattails are not as big as people had anticipated. And maybe, and this is what I think, it's the beginning of the end of Donald Trump. Some of you are going to be jumping for joy. Others of you may not like that, but I think the writing's on the wall. Gunlack likes emerging market stocks. Jamie Dimon. Okay, we're going to visit this one more time. Let me see if I can find it. Eroding consumer wealth. That's his problem. Okay. Consumers had their coffers built up better than ever. They have 1.5 trillion left in savings. And Jamie Dimon is anticipating that's going to be gone by mid-year. So consumer spending will erode, and our economy, our economy is a consumer-driven economy, and so this is not really good for earnings and such. Okay, I think that places that have been a good bastion to hide, like travel and leisure, should get hit on this. I think we had a transitory movement to a lot of travel, and I think that will end, and that's my opinion. And Jamie Dimon is not bullish. He thinks we're going to go into a recession, and he doesn't know the severity, but it depends on our Chinese relationship, what happens in Russia, et cetera, how much they have to hike rates. He thinks rates are going higher. The guy was super duper bearish. And you had guys, other CEOs on. Walmart CEO says he thinks a recession may be necessary to get us rid of inflation. UNP sees, Union Pacific sees the economy slowing. I would think they have as good a read on the economy as Jamie Dimon does, right? UNP, I mean, come on, right? They ship a lot of stuff. They would know better than almost anybody else what's going on. Maybe the credit card companies as well. Moderna, did you guys know that they were suing Pfizer for copycatting the COVID vaccine? I did not. But they tried to get a summary judgment, to quash the lawsuit in Boston yesterday, and we'll see what happens with that. I never knew that was the case. That should be interesting, huh? Barry Sternlick says a recession, but this is his, I'll quote it. The economy is absolutely going into recession, and it's absolutely definitive. Okay, so when you got guys like Sternlick and the UNP guy, Union Pacific guy, and Jamie Dimon saying this stuff, I think you guys better be careful, because this is, I think, and then what the analyst said and so on and so forth, I think the odds are really, 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 really high. Okay. Morgan Stanley's wealth management head is saying corporations are facing a period of lower earnings. Okay, so lower earnings, PEs get hit. Not only does the stock get hit by the loss in earnings, right? It gets hit by the multiple, because if your earnings growth slows, your PE multiple goes down. So if you guys thought, let's say 18 was fair value, if you have slower earnings growth, that PE probably goes down a notch or two to 16, 17, 15, something like that on a lower number. So it increases the odds of a lower S&P target. Okay. Ivy Zellman, you know, basically all the news coming out is negative. Ivy Zellman, who I've talked about with you guys a million times, I think she's the balls when it comes to housing. She called I said early on that if she's calling you negative housing, then you better pay attention. And sure enough, she's right. And now she's saying it could last several years. So just a heads up on that. Okay. I don't think I said one positive thing, which is maybe a good reason for the market to rally today, right? On the long side, we had earnings in MDB, which is really a good number. They think there's going to be a short squeeze in the stock, and some things I read. Campbell's was pretty decent. That's up $1. Toll Brothers, okay, a housing stock, had good numbers. So did THO, which is in the RV business, and GWRE. This RXRX had results, and they were good. They have a Crohn's and colitis drug. It stocks up like a monster. Southwest put in a dividend. Haven't had a dividend in 3 years, so that's a positive in that one. On the negative side, you had Dave & Buster's missed, right? I think that stock's down. Play. Okay. Yep. ASO missed. Ollie's Basement. Lovesac. I don't know how a stock with the name Lovesac goes down, but this one did. Stitch Fix, the stock I hate. Helps you dress yourself, down again. Now it's a $3 stock, down from what, 120. SWBI missed, HQY missed, Unify missed. Anybody else? AVAV. That's about it. Okay. Carvana. Okay. This is exactly what I told you guys would happen. Okay. To the T. Okay. I said, let's look at this balance sheet, this ugly garbage balance sheet that they have. Okay, this is about as bad as it gets, guys. Okay, enterprise value 8 billion, market cap 855 million. So they have what? Cash of 666 million, debt of 8 billion. They're not making money. The stock is going to zero. And what's going to happen at the end? Okay, so PIMCO and Apollo joined forces. So what's going to happen at the end is the bondholders are going to squeeze the debt holders, okay, and they're going to own the whole company after they file for bankruptcy. So a lot of the debt goes away. They're going to recap the stock. For your stock currently trading, you get a donut if you're lucky, and these guys are going to own the whole thing, and they'll probably take it down and then, go public again with it, and they'll own the whole company. Okay. And that's the story with that. Nothing really else much. Okay. So since I'm out of time, I'm just going to stop there. The AB&B downgrade is big. Okay. They think travel is going to be rough. And so does Wolf. They're saying the same thing. And other than that, a whole lot of nothing. Okay. So Spartan, it's all yours.
All righty, thank you, South Beach guys. Morning, what's going on? So let's take a look. We got going on today, guys. We need to chat. Have already done so? Make sure to check out the your email. We would have emailed you a Discord link so you can join the room. Once you guys pop into the chat, looks like this. First area to go to, guys, is the disclaimer section. Give that a read, as well as go to that new to chat information section. Scroll to the very, very top. Top of the section, you got a link to the disclaimer, as well as this bolded risk reward section. Super important to understand both. In regards to risk reward, guys, my opinion, I wouldn't be trading unless I fully understood how to apply this. So continue to scroll down. You have summary of how the chat works. Breaks down all these channels on the left hand side. You can probably navigate the chat throughout the day. Continue to scroll down. You have how to read alerts in the options and equity idea side. Pretty straightforward in that regard as well. Continue to scroll down with the options rules that I use Monday to Thursday. So if you're curious on the rules that I use on the options side, there they are for the Monday to Thursday. as well as my SPX rules that I use every single day. Continue to scroll down. We have anyone with a small account. And when I had a smaller account, or when I grow smaller accounts, less than 10K, this is what I use in my opinion that it would make sense. So worth giving that a read. How to pick ideas from an options or equity perspective. This just breaks down how to overlay your own criteria on top of the idea. So you're left with only things that make sense for you and your account. But yeah, let's take a look what we got going on today, guys. Pre-market tickers on watch, a couple different things. Watching Tesla, MTB, RXDX, MDB, SCDG, RAPL. Tesla gapping down simply due to market. MTB, KeeperNet downgrades M&T Bank to market perform lowers price target to 180. Stocks gapping down on that. RXDX announces positive results in its phase 2 study, gapping up big time on that one. MDB gapping up on earnings beat, EPS and revs year-over-year growth 47%. SCDG BOA analyst Julian Demolian Smith upgraded SolarEdge to buy from neutral with a price target of 367 from 269. And then RAPL is gapping up on some results as well for one of its studies. Let's take a look at these names from a technical standpoint intraday. First two we're looking at today, guys, Tesla and MTB. Let's have a look. So it's Tesla and MTB, sorry. What I am is. So Tesla, guys, pivot to the downside today, 175.16 levels unable to hold. I have room towards 170.34 support, 165.22. Able to hold, I see 180.05 resistance, in my opinion, to 186.45. Many bullish neutral looking for a hold of that pivot and a push higher, only if that pivot can stay intact today. So that's what I'm looking at, in my opinion, for a continuation push higher. Let's take a look at MTB, 156.95, pivot unable to hold. We got room towards 155.09 to 153.75. Able to hold 159.43 to 161.19 on the upside. Overall on MTB, I'm going to be leaning bearish neutral, looking for continuation lower if that pivot point is unable to hold, in my opinion, there as well. Let's take a look at RXDX and that MDB. RXDX, guys, pivot to the upside today, 105.09. Able to hold 121.24 to 129.58 are the Fibonacci extension levels that I have on the upside. Unable to hold 92.07, 74.35, 64.11. The Fib support levels I have on the downside. Overall, I'm going to be leaning bullish on RXDX, looking for a slight pullback this morning, hurdle off of some sort of support, whether it's an EMA or a Fib support for a long. That's what I'm going to be looking to do. MDB, 179.67 pivot, levels able to hold 186.74 to 194.59, unable to hold 172.14 to 166.57 of the supports that I have below it. Overall, on MDB, I'm going to be leaning more on the bullish neutral side today. I do like the daily chart. We did reclaim some 50 MA support. So I think that 150 level is going to be a major key to keep an eye on, which is also the pivot intraday. So if that pivot's unable to hold, then yeah, we'll start to come in my opinion. But so far it looks pretty strong. So I'm going to be leaning on the bullish side for now. All right, let's take a look at SEDG and REPL. SEDG, guys, pivot upside today is going to be the 358 spot. That level is able to hold 311.81 to 322.95 are the two next resistance levels on the upside. Unable to hold 286.51 to 273.04 will be the next support levels on the downside. Overall on SEDG, going to be leaning on the bullish neutral side today, looking for a continuation push higher if that pivot point is able to hold, in my opinion. REPL 2390 pivot level holds 25.25, 26.32. Unable to hold 22.60, 21.67 will be the next two supports on the downside. Overall on REPL, you'll be leading bullish neutral, looking for a continuation push higher. Let's take a look at the SPY and the FANG. SPY, what do I have here? So let's type this out as I usually do. SPY 392.27 pivot to the upside today. My opinion, this level holds. Next resistance 394.15 breaks. You see 395.97. Pivot unable to hold. Room lower to 390.90 support. Breaks. We see the 389.08 support tested. Meaning bullish neutral. Okay, I'm just gonna post that. Let's move on to the rest of the thing here. Perfect. Let's take a look at the thing. Apple guys pivot to the upside today. I have 141.08. My opinion level is able to hold. I got 142.43 to 144.53. Resistance levels unable to hold 139.57 to 138.45. Supports on the downside, leaning bullish control mat. Amazon pivot upside today is downside 87.84, unable to hold 85.53 next support, able to hold 90.81 is what I got. Overall leaning bearish control, looking for continuation lower. Let's take a look at Netflix. Pivot to the downside today is what I have here. 312. That level is able to hold 306.22 to 310.66. Unable to hold 299.86 to 295.09, in my opinion. Overall on Netflix, going to be leading bullish neutral only if pivot can stay intact. Meta pivot to the downside today. I have 113.53, unable to hold 109.93, able to hold 116.36 to 118.83. In my opinion, I'm leaning bearish on that, looking for continuation lower. Let's take a look at Google. Pivot to the downside today is going to be the 96.62, unable to hold 94.12, able to hold 98.44 to 139. Overall, Google, in my opinion, I'm leaning bearish on that as well. So the VIX using IWM. VIX guys pivot to the upside today is the 2251 level holds 2350, 2484. I didn't hold 2119 to 2021. And overall in the VIX, not leading in any particular direction, but using it for direction on the market as I usually do. QQQs, guys, what do I have here? The 282.57 spot level is able to hold 288.50 to 295.12 is what I have. On the upside, unable to hold 376.96 to 276.96 to 270.96 on the downside. And I'm leaning bearish neutral on Qs, looking for continuation lower. Let's take a look at IWM. Pivot to the upside today. I have 180.29. Levels able to hold 183.07. Unable to hold 176.95 is what I got as support on the downside. Overall on IW, I'm leaning bearish neutral on that. So that's SPY, that's a FANG. Those are the individual names that we're looking at today, guys. Should be an interesting one. If you guys want to pop in, join us in chat, you can certainly do so. Go to spartantrading.com. You can sign up there. Otherwise, thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you guys later.